How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike The Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good, my friend. I don't know. We got a big time name here tonight, podcast world.
What about that?
He might disagree. He gets Massey and too much camber, so he might have them as the greatest co-hosts in the world.
Hey, maybe so, maybe so. Mike, as always, man, before we get into our discussion, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter, sir.
At CD Piglet, guys, nice and easy.
Guys, I am Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, here we are with episode 4 of our series, Cowboys Crystal Ball. For those new to the series, this is a series where Mike and I bring on a guest to discuss the Cowboys' schedule in 4-week increments. They also predict their regular season record, and they share their Super Bowl predictions. With us tonight is lifelong Cowboys fan and host of the Pick Six podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your guy, Nix. Nix, how are you?
Man, doing fantastic, man. Looking forward to talking some football with you guys, fans of both of y'all, and ready to mix it up. We're just like I said before we got on, we're just getting inching so much closer to Oxnard and these things coming about. So it's time to start cranking up and talking about these Cowboys again. So it's a fun time, man. I'm excited to be on. I'm pumped.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say this little stretch, like after OTAs, where there's not as many podcasts and stuff. It's difficult because I like to work out and walk and listen to the podcast, and it's like,
what am I listening to
you right now? Yeah. Thank you, A to Z Sports and
right.
Them, the YouTubers, keeping us alive right now.
Yeah, big facts. Big facts.
Nix, for those who don't know, let them know where they can find you on Twitter, sir.
Yeah, just right there as it says on the screen, man. Your_guy_Nix Nix. You go over there, catch me on Twitter. I do Twitter things, if you will, spaces, different things like that. So come over that way and rock with me if you want to hear me rant about video games and Cowboys. That's kind of what I do. And then, of course, man, YouTube, Pick Six Sports, as Paul just said a little while ago. We'll be cranking back up. Me, Professor O, and the gang. We'll be ready to rock again here coming pretty soon. Hopefully, maybe, I don't want to jinx it, but I think we're back this Friday, tentatively. We'll see, though. But Pick Six Sports or your guy Nix on Twitter is where you can find me.
All right, well, let's get to it, guys. Nix, I'm curious. When you look at the stretch of games, man, is this the most difficult stretch of games this season?
Talking about that old pesky December, late November.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're talking. Okay, yeah. I mean, you're going Seattle, Philly, at Buffalo, at Miami, Detroit, and then wrapping up there at Washington. So they put a little bit of a gauntlet there, at the end. For me, what I kind of looked at is, boy, they need to stack games early. Really need to stack games early. But yeah, unquestionably for me, Paul, I think it's definitely the hardest stretch that they have there. You're talking about, in the division, of course. But, we know what the Bills have been. We know what Miami's kind of building over there. We know where Detroit's at and where they came from in year 2 underneath Dan Campbell going into year 3. So, yeah, I mean, the work's cut out there at the end. That late November through mid-December. Yeah, got to be ready.
Yes, sir.
Nix, let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Is it the most important stretch of the season? We'll tell Paul what that meant after the show.
Fair. No, it's not. I kind of want to state it. I think starting early and strong, I think is big for them. Injuries are going to happen as the season goes on, war of attrition and whatnot. But if you can insulate yourself early in the season and stack a lot of wins, as long as you get through that thing in the right kind of way, you'll be okay. Now, if you take some L's, though, and, the schedule, when you get to that part of the schedule and your record's looking a little indifferent, then, yeah, boy, talk about, you really, then it does obviously become the, most important part of the schedule. But for me, I think it's the first 10 weeks. How close can you be just what's a 1L team? I think starting early and strong is really big for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think the stretch from the right after the bye to the week after Thanksgiving, I believe that's Seattle.
Correct.
Making sure to go like 5-2 at worst, and that stretch is going to be huge for them.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And I mean, and of course you're coming in that nice little stretch there, right? Washington for Thanksgiving. They're right with Seattle, team that went to the playoffs last year, had them a decent draft as well. Gino in the year 2 of his reclamation, what he's got going. So yeah, I mean, as soon as Thanksgiving gets here and that run, Mike, it's rough. But hey, it's the people that you play, and whatnot. Yeah, would you like to have the Bills maybe in September and not in December up there? But
For
these
real.
are the cards that are drawn, so you got to roll with it. But again, they know what's in front of them. That's why I said, man, hey, there's going to be a concerted effort early on to say, hey, man, we can't play with our food early. We need to stack games and win and be in a position. Even if you're in a spot right in once we get to these stretch of games that there's a guy you might need to sit and think about the big picture. Well, if you stack the games up, okay, maybe we can live without a Dak for a game. Maybe we can live without a Tony Pollard for a game because it's not as intense of us winning this game because of the work we've done earlier, right? And we need to make sure he's ready for the playoffs. So there's some of that comes into the mind, the forefront too, as far as stacking those wins early.
Absolutely. Good point there, Nix. Okay, well, let's talk about Week 14 versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
You look at this Eagles team. Are Philly's losses on defense and the coaching staff being overlooked in your eyes, Nix?
Yeah, probably some. You know, you lost a coordinator, and and we know some people are indifferent when it comes to their coordinator over there. You know, that's fine. You know, but you know what he did do while he was there. Now he's head coach in Arizona, but you lost 5 starters, right? And yes, I think we would all agree the replacements that they drafted, everyone's really fans of them. That's fair. But we haven't seen them on, but we ain't seen them yet. We haven't seen them do much yet. Jordan Davis was even limited last year. So until these guys are on the field and performing at the level as what was going on last year. So, yeah, I mean, it's a step back, especially as we're talking in June. And we don't know how, Nakobe Dean didn't get on at all really last year either. But, those linebackers are gone now. So now it's time for him to play. Is he the guy that everybody thinks he was going to be coming out of college? We got to wait and see. So there's some, definitely you have to say they're taking a step back, not just because of the coordinator, but you have 5 starters. High-profile guys you're replacing them with and high-profile draft picks you're replacing them with, sure. But you got to see it come together, though, too. So, yeah, probably a smidge of a step back, though, for sure.
And one of the guys they lose, like I've talked about this a million times on Twitter with my Eagle fans who I'm friends with. I'm like, look, Jalen Carter might end up being better than Jason Hargrave in his career.
True.
Hargrave is he terrifies me in San Francisco. He was their best defensive lineman for the last 3 years here.
Mm-hmm.
And just thinking that a rookie is going to come in and be like, oh yeah, we're like, no, dude, it takes a little bit of time, especially replacing a dude like that.
Yeah, I like how you said it, a dude. Yes, because Hargrave is a dude. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And, it's been so different. Like, when I try to tell people that same kind of stratosphere that, when we're having those conversations on, look, Dan Quinn's defense didn't just show up day one and overnight it was there. You've seen the maturation over 2 seasons going to year 3. And same thing with them. Their defense going to what they're going to have to do there, implement what they're going to do. And again, as you said, absolutely, Jalen Carter could ultimately go down and be way better overall for his career. But he's going to do it next year. And that's what we're talking about right here. I'm not there with you.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the losses. We're talking about, the changes that they made. Do you see Philly taking a step back with the changes they made this offseason?
Offensively, see, here's the thing. Now, they lost their offensive coordinator too, right? I like the guy that they got for Utah quarterback. And you've kind of looked at all the stops and what he's done. I actually like the guy that they have stepping up there. His name escapes me right now. I apologize. But I like who they got for the OC. The line's back, offensive line. Yeah, Hurts should go into year 3, should do well. Then they've retooled their running back room. Now, Rashard Penny and Swift, good names, often injured. Can they keep it together with their injuries, stuff that they've dealt with? But I mean, still a very good team, right? Are we talking about a step back? Well, I don't think we're talking about a step back where, they're not going to make the playoffs, right? How far is the step back? They won the division last year. Step back is easily just be they won't win the division this year. So in that realm, they probably do take a step back. You got 2 new coordinators. You're definitely replacing some people on the defense. You have to see how it comes together with those young guys that they got going over there. And we got to see what their running game is going to look like still. Depending on those guys going to stay healthy or not. So, a step back. But like I said, not a drop-off. Not like the Rams when they went to the Super Bowl and then, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. I think that's a completely different scenario. But, a step back. Not winning the division because I don't think they're winning the division. So, yes, I'll say a step back.
I'll flip to my next one, Paul, about Jalen Hurts. Is he overrated in your mind, Nix? Like, he was an All-Pro last year,
right? Yeah, look, and here's my stance when it comes to quarterbacks. There's Patrick Mahomes, the alien, and then it's a bunch of what do you like? Just how it is for me. There's Patrick Mahomes by a country mile, and then, hey, who you like, right? Well, Joe Burrow beat him. Well, Joe Burrow was the guy. And then, oh, look what Josh Allen did in the playoffs. Oh, no, look, now he's the guy. And now here's, Jalen Hurts. Well, look what he did in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes. And now he's the guy. We see this a lot of whoever had a good playoff run with a young quarterback. Now they're the Guy Nix or whatever. So I think Jalen Hurts is really good. I think, if you look at the extension of him playing, going back to even 2 years ago where they go to the playoffs, what did they do? They dialed it back. They ran the ball heavy. Ended up going 9-7, or I guess it was 10. Well, I guess it was 9-7. I can't remember if it was the
9-8, I think.
Was it 9-8? Okay, yeah. And then they go down there and the Bucks and them, as they should have that year, just got rid of them. So you go to this past year, what did they do? They invested. Look, you got AJ Brown. You already drafted Smith. You put things around him, and you developed his passing game along with it from the year previous to this one. So you saw that. And of course, maybe the best game he played was in the Super Bowl, outside of him fumbling the ball and then losing. But he had some throws in there like, man, he is dialing it up right now. So I don't know if he's overrated. I think we get caught in the moment a lot of times because of a player's recent success when they're young. I always think you got to do it for 2 years. When you're quarterback, 1 year can happen. Show me for 2 years. And then we can kind of get into the pantheon of where he's at. But absolutely right now, I don't think Philly want to get rid of him, and I understand why. So, no, I don't say overrated. I think there's a lot to be said because he's in the division with Dak. So we went through it when there was Carson Wentz, right? And it was Dak, Carson, Dak. And now flip over. Now it's Dak's still here. And now it's, Hurts and that. And so a lot of that for us kind of gets muddled up, with these conversations and things that are happening. I think on the overarching national media side of things, he's getting a lot of love right now, as he should. So, yeah, I don't know. This year's going to tell a lot. The film's out. You're going to get a first-place schedule. Can you produce and take that next step in the passing game? We know what you can do with your legs. We always knew that, what he could do. But now how can he do and go forward? Like I said, threw the ball well last year, missed 5 games. You look at the stats that he had and whatnot, or 4 games, however many it was. And the jump from year 1 to year 2 playing, that is, was very big for him. So, if he does it again, the one thing I always talk about these young guys, by year 4, you know who they are. And not that there's not guys that make more, get better or make bigger jumps, but your big jumps are usually in those first 3 to 4 years. And he's still in that curve. So where he's at right now, maybe not ranked high enough, but we'll let the games tell us this season where he's at.
Absolutely. You mentioned the debate between Dak and Carson Wentz, and of course, now you also talk about the debate between Dak and Jalen Hurts of who's being better. What does Dak need to do to end that debate? If he were to win this game in the division, is that enough to end that debate?
I don't know. This is Dallas. This is Cowboys Nation. And replace Dak with another quarterback till they win a Super Bowl. It won't matter. Look, you can get a new quarterback in here. They'll love him for 2 years. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Look, we saw it. Look, and anyone in the chat, remember, hey, everyone was tired of Drew Bledsoe. Here comes Romo. Everybody loved Romo for 2 years. All right. Then Romo injuries, things happen. Here comes Dak. Oh, my God, Dak. Now it's all about Dak. Now, 2-3 years, Dak got paid. Dak, So, from the criticism standpoint, as far as a fan base or anything else, or looking at, being better than Hurts, look, there's definitely Cowboys fans that will say he's better than Hurts, right? But I just think in general, the overarching scope is it's Eagles wins the Super Bowl, and there will still be some people that will still chastise him for winning the Super Bowl somehow. It's just how it works. But I think that's really the thing. As far as this game, could be very big for this division, right? That late in the year, what's going on, and then that's what we're wanting to see because they played against, Cooper Rush when they had Hurts. All right, well, we played against, Minshew, and when we had Dak. So definitely want to see those two guys at the helm of these teams get after it for sure. And, to the victor goes the spoil. So whoever wins the game definitely can walk around and say, hey, our guy's better.
All right, so back when Wentz and Dak happened, Dak, his rookie year, had a great year. In 2017, Wentz has a great year. They're both around the same age, drafted the same year. So that makes a lot of sense. Is it too early for Hurts for there to be a Hurts-Dak debate, considering Dak's 30, he's been through so much, yada, yada?
It should be, but that's no fun for division rivals, though, I guess, at the end of the day. But it should be, and that's why I said before when the question we were talking about where he's ranked, is it too high? Is he overlooked? Where is he at? I think that's just part of the equation here. He's just young, right? We need to see him do it another season and see where it goes from there. So yeah, I mean, Dak's been there, done it. Of course, they got to say, well, he ain't been to a Super Bowl, he ain't been to a championship game. Yeah, that's fair. And Hurts went out there and he's accomplished that already. But he's got such a long ways to go. We kind of know where Dak is as a player. We don't ultimately know where Hurts is as a player. So that'll be a part of the fun of this season unfolding and seeing what Hurts grows into, how that works. But as far as a direct, competition and going against them, probably not. But I mean, they make these lists every year, whoever, then they rank them wherever, and Kirk Cousins and the whole nine and all these good stuffs. But when you're in the division, you probably wouldn't get the same line, right? Let's say Hurts is playing for the Chargers. We probably we wouldn't be talking about it. But because he plays for the Eagles, it's always there. Is it too soon? Probably so, because he's had one really good year. Can he follow it up? Meanwhile, Dak has done it for a long period of time.
Yeah, very true, very true. All right, next, looking at this matchup, is this a win or a loss?
Whoa. I messed something up here, but Paul got a really good question. I don't want him to skip it.
Okay.
At 26, did you want Dallas to draft Nolan Smith?
I mean, I wouldn't have hated it. No, I mean, I wouldn't have hated it. But I try to tell people leading up, going all the way back to probably like February, I was like, they like Mozzie Smith a lot. They just do, and they always did. I think for me, still worrisome about the offensive line. And like, look, I know we could probably wait a little bit longer, but Vila's right here. We just go ahead and scoop a guy. And of course, it turned out they did have offensive linemen. In my bill, it was going to be Matthew Bergeron out of Syracuse. So I'm not mad. Look, again, if they took Nolan Smith, I'm not complaining. But I'm not complaining either with Mozzie either, because we needed another guy there in the middle. Granted, they got Hankins back. Obviously, hopefully we see some more from Quinn Bohanna this year as well. One of the linchpins that kind of messed up a little bit last year because of that, and forcing this pick to a certain extent, was the Ridgeway situation, right? Because they thought they could get cute, they could cut him, and just bring back to the practice squad. And Washington's like, oh, appreciate you, thanks. So they had to go and address it somehow. They liked Mozzie a lot, so I can't be mad at it. Look, I like to have a guy like him in the middle. And what they want to do now from a scheme standpoint, talking about they're not going to be in a lot of the stunts and stuff. It's going to be more pushing the power forward, but it's going to help the ends anyways. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and cry. I mean, if it'd been Nolan Smith, like, hey, another guy, another rusher, let's go. So, but I'm okay with Mozzie Smith overall.
All right, back to my question, Nix. Is this a win or a loss?
Come on, man, it's a dub. It's June, man. It's a dub. Yeah. It's a dub. Philly.
Fair enough. Mike, how about you?
I have not put a division loss yet, and I'm not going to here. If Dak's healthy, we beat the NFC. He whoops on the NFC East. He just does. He is always prepared for those games. And if he's starting and we have something to play for, it's really rough to beat us.
Big facts.
Big time game, big time moments. We've seen Dak, have a lot of success in those moments. But like you guys, I'm giving Dallas a dub here as well.
Let's go. The trifecta.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, here we are, Week 15 at the Buffalo Bills. In 2022, the Bills' regular season record was 13-3. Their playoff record was 1-1. They lost in the divisional round to the Cincinnati Bengals. And in 2023, their strength of schedule is the 7th most difficult. A key stat from 2022, Stephon Diggs was top 5 in receptions, receiving yards, and TDs. Nix, you look at these Bills, are they the Cowboys of the AFC?
Kinda. I kind of feel like the Chargers are too, but kinda. To a certain extent, just because obviously it's been a long time. You thought there was opportunity there for them to get to the championship game. The 13 seconds, if you will, even against Kansas City, and what happened there. I think they missed a big opportunity last year, and I think what we also learned was Brian Daboll meant a lot to them. As we're talking about the Eagles with coordinators, right, and moving on. We saw what Brian D did in New York, and getting them to the playoffs and whatnot. And you kind of saw they had some situational problems at times with the offense. So there was a little bit of a step back for them in that resolve. But yeah, I don't. I lean more Chargers are kind of like the Cowboys, and this is before obviously Kellen Moore went over there to them. But I always kind of the Chargers kind of like the Cowboys. But there's an argument there. Bills 90s 4 straight, the whole nine, seeing the ups and downs and things they've been through. There's definitely some ties that bond there for sure, Paul, for sure.
How about similarities in Josh Allen and Dak Prescott? Do you see similarities in their games?
Not really, to be honest with you. I mean, look, Josh Allen has a cannon on his arm. You know, he had accuracy issues coming out of college. Getting players around him has definitely helped that part of his game for sure. Running style, they don't run the same. He runs and this is the biggest thing I think for his career is I've said this for 2 years. He runs the ball too much like Cam Newton. He's going to use his body up because he's 6'5". He wants to impose his will, do those things. It's great, but if you want to be in this game a long time, I mean, I'm sure Cam Newton would pick up the phone and tell him, "Hey, man, don't do it as much as I did." And you see what's happening right now because his shoulder's basically shot now. So I kind of look at it like that as compared to Dak. Tight window throws, completion percentage, stuff like that. That's his game. Now, can he get? They never completely used him in the running. You know, inside the 10, you get some read option stuff, easy walkers. We've seen those things. We've seen him use his legs, but it's more. It's not as much as how. And, of course, some of this is because we had a run game as compared since Josh Allen's been there. The run game's been very suspect at best, so they needed him to go do those things. So I think the games are just different that way. I think, again, more of a Cam Newton-style runner. I think Dak's more of a, I don't say Russ Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, but more of the, hey, I'll get out here and let me get over here, especially since the injury, and kind of take care of the body.
Yeah. Yeah, so, one thing, similar to kind of Dak and Hurts is people more so in the media, they always seem to have Dak and Josh Allen in the same conversation. They'll rank Josh Allen ahead of Dak.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think people rank Allen ahead of Dak?
Playoff success. Basically that run that he had in the game that he played against Kansas City is what it boils down to. The lights were on. They were big. He played a hell of a game. No ifs or buts about it. Left 13 seconds, unfortunately. But, I mean, just that game in general, what he did, just really catapulted him, forward. And it's just kind of that because, I mean, again, you get into, like, the turnovers and stuff like that. He had a problem with turnovers last year. Those are just the facts. And I ain't talking about just interceptions, fumbles as well, too. And, he's had a little bit of that in his wheelhouse of turning the ball over here and there. Doesn't been able to mask it by a good defensive coach coming there, playing better defense. And again, you got Diggs. You got him a guy to throw the ball to and do those things. So, I think it's just realistic. He's going to get the nod over him. 6'5", laser rocket arm, to quote Peyton Manning from long ago. And of course, again, the first thing people hear Josh Allen, they think about the Kansas City game and what he did in that game.
So, question: We know Allen has the better arm, a little bit better runner.
Mm-hmm.
Is Josh Allen a better player than Dak Prescott?
He's more physically talented, but it takes more than physical, though. I mean, again, the arm and the body, the size, even right profile, all that's fantastic. Doesn't equate that you're a better football player because especially when you're a quarterback, right? You got leadership has to matter in how you handle that role, not just in front of the cameras, but also in the locker room around your guys, and the intangible stuff too as well. Understanding what's happening in a play, different things, awareness, if you will. So yeah, I don't think I'm okay with somebody saying that Josh Allen is a better quarterback than that. It's fine, but I don't think it's as wide as a gap as a lot of people want to say it is. Is where I would land. Hey, do you like the big arm better? Okay, cool. Surrounded with some guys, but I think Dak overall in what he does, not just physically, was how he's always done things. Coming up, whether it's college on into the NFL, I think matters a lot, and that makes him special. And a lot of the quarterbacks in this league don't have that.
Yeah, Noah Brown saying that C.J. Stroud was leadership like Dak Prescott. That was some big words. People want to laugh at because it's Dak.
Yeah.
But
and did you see Cole Beasley quote tweeted that and said, "Bar none, the best leader I ever played with was Dak Prescott." And I mean, obviously he played with Josh Allen, so
yeah.
Yep.
I didn't see that. Wow, I
I
like seeing that because Beasley, kind of left on somewhat bad terms, and he rubbed Cowboys Nation the wrong way.
He threw some daggers at the old organization a little bit when he got out. Yeah, he threw a couple.
All right, Nick, you look at this matchup between Dallas and the Bills. What would a win against this Bills team say to you about the Cowboys?
They can win in cold weather because it's going to be cold. I mean, at that point in time, and when you're in that part of the season, if you go up there and you're able to get that kind of win against that kind of team in that kind of weather, that lets you know, hey, we're ready to roll for the playoffs. We can go play anywhere now. I think would be the biggest thing that would sell me on this. Okay, doesn't matter what this temperature is, anything else. Because remember last year, grass games, and all that stuff, started floating around. So here will be something to the antithesis of that, saying, hey, man, cold weather or not, they're going to go out and get the job done.
All right, here it is. Let's test Nick's homerism.
Okay.
They going up and winning in cold weather in December in Buffalo?
No, they're losing. Cold. You just came off 2 very big games back to back. Yeah, hey man, we'll find out. But yeah, I don't think. I mean, and at that point, the Cowboys come off of those 2 victories and they're set up in a good spot too. I mean, look, Bubba's got a tough division now. That boy Aaron Rodgers is over there now. We know what Miami's building. Man, they might be fighting in that week. They might be fighting for everything at that moment, and the Cowboys might be in a position where they're not fighting so hard. So, but yeah, man, that cold weather. Hey, look, I'm not a believer in the cold weather for them. I don't know if they're ready to go out here and win in this cold weather. So right now in June, I'm like, no, I think it's an L for them up there.
Mike, how about you?
I think the defense is going to step up and play enormous, and it ain't going to be enough. And it's going to be this can be one of those stretches where people get up. We're going to have I have us at this point at 11-2, and then losing to go 11-3, and I still think it's going to be here we go.
Same old Cowboys.
Same old Cowboys. Defense steps up, but the offense couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
Is Mike McCarthy, should he have kept Kellen Moore? Is Dak the guy? Even at 11-3, I see it happening that whole week.
The script writes itself, Mike. The script writes itself.
Absolutely. And I just don't see. I mean, Buffalo's good. They need to win games in the division, as Nick said. It is cold weather, and it's just 2 good teams, and they're going to lose a road game coming off of. I mean, Nick spelled it out perfectly. Coming off of 2 big games, you lose a game. You're not going to go undefeated.
Big facts.
Yeah, for me, I think the Cowboys another big moment for Dak and the defense and Mike McCarthy. I think they win this big game and kind of cross something off the checklist there, winning a tough weather game.
I like it.
I'm pulling for your.
Yeah, me too.
Years, I believe it. That's the one game that I'm like, they're not winning that one. That's the game on the schedule. And I'm like, that ain't happening.
Well, here we are. Maybe if it snows just enough and they move it to Minnesota, we can win.
There you go. Blizzard, right?
Yeah, get that blizzard going. We can't play, guys. We got to move the game. All right, cool.
For real.
All right, here we are, Week 16 at Miami Dolphins. In 2022, the Dolphins' regular season record was 9-8. Their playoff record was 0-1. They lost in the wild card game, and their 2023 strength of schedule is the second most difficult in the NFL. A key stat from the Dolphins in 2022, they were one of 2 teams to make the playoffs in the AFC and not have double-digit wins. Nick, you look at this Miami offense. Is Miami's offense the best offense Dallas will face this season?
It'll definitely be the fastest. There ain't no ifs or buts about that. I mean, whether it's Waddle or it's Hill, they drafted A-Chain out of A&M. I mean, they're going to be fast. Will it be the best? I don't know. It'll be the best. It's definitely going to be the fastest, though. I don't. Man, look, Philly's still got a really damn good offense. And here's the thing: can I buy Tua being there? Is Tua even going to be healthy by then? I'm very worried about the long term things when it comes to Tua. So I just, man, they'll definitely be the fastest if Tua's there and they're making the strides. Then absolutely, they're in the running. I mean, they're not. I'm not saying like they're a bum, offense by any stretch.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they're up there. They're probably the top 3 offense that we'll face this year, for sure.
Okay,
I agree. I'd have Philly ahead of them too, Nick.
Okay, yeah.
As far as play callers go, we know Andy Reid clearly. We know Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. and now Sean Payton's back, and he's been a pretty good one. Is Mike McDaniel the next guy in line there, the next young up and coming guy like that?
Boy, going to find out, aren't we? And of course, coming from the old tree over there in San Francisco, Shanahan, doing a lot of similar stuff, right? We have a plethora of backs. We got speed over here. We're running them, all to the edges and whatnot. So he definitely took care of business when he was out there in San Francisco to understand and what he wants to do. So yeah, there's things watching him as I got a couple of my closest friends, they're Dolphins fans. So I definitely, chime in, watch them. But I don't think he had it together last year, just from design, things he was doing. Obviously, even after going, he was juggling 3 quarterbacks at one point and still got into the playoffs, and even with like the 3rd string quarterback, almost beat the Bills on the road, So yeah, no, I think he's there. I think they're going to find out if Tua's the guy or not for them, because that might be just because it's simple, nothing about his talent or anything else, just from a health standpoint. Because if they want to build around and everything, they got to give him his guy. And I think we all agree, like, when it comes to a head coach, they got to have their trigger man. They got to have their guy at the helm that they want to run with and get things rolling. And I think that's maybe the biggest thing they have to figure out for them is the Tua and Mike McDaniel. Is this a long-term marriage? Do it's a pivot, maybe do something else at quarterback? So, but yeah, no, I think Mike is very smart. I think he understands the lay of the land very well. And navigating Miami is not really the easiest because of some of the ownership stuff they've had over the past few years. He did a great job with that too last year. And I think the players noticed that as well. That's why they play hard for him. So yeah, I think Mike's definitely on the right trajectory though. I like what he's doing over there in Miami.
Offense being the kind of the name of the game here with this Miami matchup. You talked about the speed with the wide receivers and running backs. What do you think Dan Quinn should do to contain this Miami offense?
Destroy the quarterback. You already know. You already know sizes, and look, go get him. I think that's just it. If you can't get it to them people if the quarterback's on his back. And right now you got what a time to be alive. Connor Williams over there holding out right now. What a year changes or so. So they're still trying to figure some things out. Now his scheme helps this offensive line a lot too. But there are a lot of injuries on the offensive line last year. How's that offensive line coming together? So I think for the Cowboys, you just got to get to Tua if he's there. I think that's really the big key to neutralize that offense. And the good thing about it for them on the other side, though, too, is they've got an up close personal look at the San Francisco run game 2 times now, right? So they know what to look for, and they'll play them before, and they'll play San Francisco before we get to them anyways next year. So 3 times. So you have a pretty good idea of they won't be surprised by it. They're going to know what the scheme and the run game is going to look like, so they'll be able to prepare for it. So I just think, be mindful of what this scheme does running the ball, and I think, just unleash the hounds, if you will, and go touch that quarterback is what they really need to do to neutralize that speed. Because
I like that.
If he's up too long, that speed is going to get open. Look, you only cover for so long in this league.
Yeah.
That time shrinks covering those guys. Phew. Whew. Just think about it. Gives me cold sweats. Sheesh.
Perfect transition with speaking of the running backs. Should Dallas look to build their running back room like Miami and use the running back position the way the Dolphins use it?
Well, they're getting close. You look at the baby guys, and that's kind of what the big ticket items I've been talking about on the spaces and around the way is. Let me ask you all. Now, we saw they would carry just 2. That's it. They'd carry 2. There'd be it was Zeke and Pollard. That's it. I don't know how many they're going to carry this year. It's a fun game. How many do you think they're going to carry this year, Mike?
Does Hunter count as a running back, fullback, or tight end?
They can get tricky because they can make him tight end 4. They can get tricky.
That's what I think. I think he's going to be tight end 4.
Yeah.
McKeon's going to go down to practice squad as he did a lot of the time last year. And I think they'll end up having 3 running backs. It'll be Pollard, Malik Davis, one of the other guys. If Rojo looks like a guy who could be a short yardage, that's fine. If the kid Dowell, Deuce Vaughn will be in there for sure.
Yeah.
So Yeah, they probably get Rojo down, and they probably cut
Rico.
Yeah, let him go to practice squad. I'm a Davis fan. I know Malik Davis. A lot of people got pissed at him because he kind of was like, "Hey, look, y'all, I can run better than Zeke." I'm sorry to tell y'all giving him top 10 carries, and I can't get any carries, and I can hit those holes he's not hitting.
Yeah.
And it pissed off Kellen Moore. It probably upset Dak, Zeke's his friend and everything. But I like that personally. I want my guys to go, we're not getting the ball. I'm better than him. Like, I want my guys to be competitive like that. So I think with Moore out the door, I think Malik Davis is going to make the team. Dowdle's going to be the one because everybody likes him. If he comes back off his injury, he was a special teams guy. He was a good runner. That's the guy. That's a tough call.
So you're carrying 4. Well, we're hiding Lipke at tight end, but technically you're carrying 4. Okay, Paul, how many you think they're going to carry?
Hey, Mike knows more than I do, so I'll piggyback off him. I'll say 4.
4? Okay.
I mean, definitely Deuce Vaughn, Pollard, and I don't know. I mean, I kind of, I'm with Mike when he said, liking Malik Davis's attitude. You want that kind of attitude, that personality with this team, especially the way that, we're kind of building this team. So I like, at least 3 of those 3, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think, and everyone gets caught up. I'm not trying to steer off, but it's funny because everyone gets caught up on power back. And I'm like, look, a power back isn't the same thing as a short yardage back. They're 2 different things.
Yeah.
And I think people get too caught up on the power back scenario things. I'm like, no. You got guys who can get you short yardage here, guys. It's there. Yeah. I know it's not what Zeke did and everything else. I understand that side of it. I'm like, but there's a difference between a power back and a short yardage back is 1. And I said 2, and I implore people all the time. I'm like, man, y'all can't look at this how Kellen Moore was running this thing. It's different. They're going to run multiple guys. It's not going to be just 2 yards in the cloud of dust with one guy and the other guy just when he gets tired goes in. It's going to be very different. So I'm excited. It's one of the most things I'm excited for once training camp and these preseason games get rolling, just seeing how they're used and everything else. I'm with you guys. I think Hunter, they can kind of stash tight end 4. I just don't see a way that they're not going to carry 3. And I think absolutely. I think Deuce Vaughn's a lock. Pollard, obviously. Yeah. And then who's it going to be? Is it going to be Davis or Rojo? It'll be one of those 2. And I think Rico Dowdle ends up on the practice squad or something like that. I think that's where it would land.
The Malik Davis is really good in the pass game, and if you go watch either one, Schottenheimer or McCarthy, they throw to Kellen Moore does not throw to the running back. He just didn't. It was one of my most frustrating things. He would just have the running back swing out all the time.
Yeah.
That is not going to happen in this offense. And Malik Davis is a weapon catching the ball. He's not Deuce Vaughn.
Right.
He is a really good pass catcher, and he's going to help in that area.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it, man. To see it unload and how they get after it. I mean, just even hearing McCarthy talk about Deuce Vaughn, talk about I had a guy, Reggie, Cobb. I was like, oh, Randall Cobb action? I mean, what are we doing here? Throwing the running backs? It's so crazy. What a novel thought in 2023. But I'm here for it.
He put wide receivers at running back like Cobb because he wants to throw to them. He's not a traditional running guy. He'll get his rush yards throwing to the running back. He has no issues doing that.
Big facts. I'm excited for it.
We've talked a lot about the good with the Miami offense. Nix, what is one weakness you see with this Miami team?
They got to figure out their offensive line more, for sure. Some of that was health, some of it wasn't health. They definitely need to figure some things out offensive line wise. I think tight end's a little bit of a bugaboo for him as well on that front. Now quarterbacks, they should be a lot better. They drafted a guy that went and made the trade for what's the guy? What's the name? Everybody wanted him. Jalen Ramsey. Lord help me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey. Linebackers, okay. Depends on their edges because they made the trade last year, right? They made the big trade for Chubb and got him in there and whatnot. They didn't get after the quarterback well last year, though. They did not. And, they had some veteran guys over there. They had some young guys as well. But their pass rush wasn't really good last year. So it'll be interesting to see. Now they have Chubb there, for a full offseason, how that turns around. But I'd say ultimately pass rush and offensive lines are 2 bugaboos, though. that they got to really figure out here during training camp.
I'm interested to see if the three names of Jalen Ramsey, Byron Jones, and assuming Byron Jones, and Xavier Howard, if those names play up to what we know those names to be.
Right.
Will they be high overall Madden guys, but when you play them in the actual games, they're not playing like that.
Right.
I'm interested to see that next year.
Well, and look, and as I said people before, Jalen Ramsey has been getting cooked for a year and a half now. I know people don't want to hear that, but it's true. He has been. You dial up the tape and see it. And the thing for them going back to the pass rush, they'll be fine covering, but they can't generate that pass rush more than they could like they did last year. I mean, they'll have some issues. And don't forget about who's our guy, the safety from Oregon out there too.
Howard? No, Holland. There we go.
So they got guys back there, but if they can't get that pass rush moving, they'll get cooked. Yeah, I mean, it'll happen. I mean, and Xavier Howard is an interesting watch because he gets interceptions, and you think he'll give up some plays, but you would think maybe it's because he's gambling for the interceptions. That's really not his bag, though. It's really not. It's really interesting, like the ways that he does get beat more times than not are just a step wrong here, a step wrong there. But it's not really a chance taker like a Marcus Peters was, if you will. So he's an interesting watch in how he plays the position because he'll end up with these interceptions and he does get beat for yards, but it's not in the way that I imagine when I turned the tape on of how he was getting beat.
We're getting a win or loss here.
Dub, man, we ain't losing Miami.
Oh, wow.
Look, we left the cold weather. We went down there, got warmed up. Like, yes, let's just shake off that loss real quick in Buffalo down here on South Beach and get this dub and get this win.
I got to be honest with you guys.
Mike, how about you?
I put my record going in as either 12-5 or 13-4. Mm-hmm. And I was looking for losses, and I was like, I'll just put Miami as a loss. Okay. They got a lot of speed. They got some playmakers on defense. Maybe Dak throws an interception or two.
Yeah.
A couple of big plays. Maybe Mike McDaniels. You know how teams get. This is the game we're going to come out with some stuff. All the eyes are going to be on us. So I see something where maybe the defense gives up more than they normally do, and they lose a second straight. The media gets to get their end of the year craziness for the playoffs, and that's just I'm just going to say they lose it. I don't know how I believe it, but I could see it. I could see it.
Right. Talented team. Playoff team.
Yeah. Yeah, after back-to-back physical games versus Philadelphia and Buffalo, man, I got to give us an L. The Miami's offense is a little too fast for us. Our defense is kind of probably going to, get beat more often than not, and I don't think Dak is going to make enough plays to put us over the top.
Okay. When I was going over that game, man, you know what it was that gets me is I'm like, damn, they got a lot of speed and they can get us, but man, our pass rush should eat them up. So, like, can they develop those long? Because if you just do the short stuff, it's going to be hard for you to beat. You got to. It's going to be hard for Hill and Waddle to just get 5-yard passes and break on our defense. Yeah. They tackle, and so, like, I honestly don't really. I'm just giving us this loss because some freak thing somewhere in there in those wins that I put straight. There's going to be a weird loss. And that game, the Miami game, will actually be a win. Right. When I'm doing the record, I was just like, whatever, Miami, sure, we lost.
There it is. I like it. Right. Got to make these numbers match up.
Yes, exactly. Pretty much.
All right, here we are, Week 17 versus the Detroit Lions. In the 2022, their regular season record was 9-8. They missed the playoffs, and their strength of schedule is the 13th easiest. A key 2022 stat for the Lions. They won the same amount of games as the Giants and Seahawks, had a better division record, yet they still missed the playoffs, while both the Giants and Seahawks made the playoffs. Nix, you look at Dan Campbell. Is he a good coach or just a good motivator?
Whatever he's putting in the water is working. I don't know which one that is, but whatever he's putting in that water up there in Detroit is working. I mean, look, he says the things that you want to hear a football coach say, right? And it'll be interesting. We'll find out how good of a coach he is. Right now he's a hell of a motivator, and he has a plan, and they're using it.
Yeah.
But motivation only take you so far. And there used to be a guy that coached up there by the name of Wayne. What was his last name?
Yeah.
Started with the H or something. Anyways, had a couple good years. Got to a NFC Championship game. He was a players coach, very motivated, and then the wheels started coming off because the coaching wasn't quite as good as the motivation. So I think Wayne Huizenga. No, that's not it.
No, that's the owner.
That's the owner.
What
Anyway, I'll have to go back and look it up. But that's the thing with him. The motivation things are happening in the right realms of what's going on now. And we'll find out, moving forward. But I mean, hey, he said, man, we're gonna come out there, we're gonna chew your kneecaps off, get after him. Like, hey, I'm old, but I'm ready to, I'll run through a wall for him real quick. I at least got one more wall in me, I think. So yeah, I think he's a massive motivator. I think here's the thing. You got Todd to the hit with the GM. They have a plan and they're executing the plan. Because people look at their draft and say they completely blew their two first round picks. Those are guys but you look at who they drafted, that's exactly Dan Campbell guys. So I'm like, hey, 9-8, they're getting things moving in the right direction. Let me see it on the field first. Like, this is who they want to go draft. Until you show me otherwise, we're going to get after it. And then of course they traded Swift, which made even more sense why they went and got the running back. But yeah, I'm extremely excited to see, that division is going to be very different this year because with the Bears, what they got going on, obviously Aaron Rodgers is out. I mean, it's a whole new NFC North in a lot of ways. And Detroit's definitely, I think, going to be leading the charge. But Chicago's scary too, though, for different reasons.
Yeah, that I'll tell you what, he may only be a great motivator, but he hired one hell of an offensive coordinator, and that helps.
That part.
I blanked on his friggin' name, which makes me mad. Now we're both irritated by forgetting names.
That's true.
For real. Is Jared Goff underrated, or is he more a product of the OC that we're forgetting his name and the environment?
I think the Rams gave up on him too soon. To be honest, like you got to the Super Bowl. Next year kind of happened. You didn't get back to the Super Bowl, and you made a move. I never thought Goff was completely trash. I know I'm still like people with different things, and we heard some of the play call was nasty and some of his stuff or whatever the case is. But boy, he looked like he had it put together pretty well last year, and what he was doing in Detroit. So maybe the Rams, they got a Super Bowl out of it. So ultimately the trade works for them. They got the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. It is what it is. But it felt like they maybe gave up on him too soon. And we've seen how he's played in Detroit. And phenomenal job. It'll be very intriguing to see what he does this year and make it so he might tell him with the old Geno line. They wrote me off, but I didn't write back.
Yeah, you kind of touched on the Detroit Lions draft picks, but in your opinion, Nix, when you look at the premium draft capital that they had, do you think that was a misuse of those picks, or do you think they went with like a best player available kind of a win now approach to the draft?
I think just went and got their guys. To be honest, I just think that's like, hey, we wanted these guys. We don't really care, and we're going to take them here. I think this is what it kind of boiled down to. I think, on their big board, I don't think 13th was the running back. I don't think so, but maybe I'm wrong, And then look, I love the linebacker. I mean, you go to Iowa and get a linebacker, you feel pretty good about it, right? But again, I don't think he was probably, where was their second pick? 22, 23, something like that, right?
Yeah. Early 20s.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to bet that's probably not the highest guy on their board, but they want guys who want to do things their way. And I think it's just what they did. And of course, them trading Swift made all the more sense later while they went that route, what was going on. But yeah, I don't think I think they just had a plan and they want their guys, they're going to execute it. And that's always fun when you get somebody in the league and they just do things their own way and differently. It shakes things up. It's fun to watch and see, because if it works, I guarantee you, all these we hear, well, you don't draft a running back here. Well, don't take the linebacker, all this stuff. But if what they're doing works, all of a sudden you go see another team do it. And then you'll start hearing the national scope of this, like, well, you could take him here, but, you got to be this. It'll change the narrative. Just like their own version of Moneyball. But it's all about biting kneecaps off.
Have you guys seen the movie Draft Day, Kevin Costner?
Oh, yes.
You know how he wrote down on that paper, no matter what. That's what felt Detroit was at. Detroit was like Jamar Gibbs, no matter what. What's his name? Campbell, linebacker.
Yeah, Jack Campbell.
Jack Campbell, no matter what. That's what those picks felt like.
Yeah.
So as far as Detroit, how they've built their team, do you prefer wide receivers like St. Brown, or are you a Jamison Williams type guy?
Man, if you can perform, I like you. How about that? I like St. Brown's game, though. No disrespect to Jamison Williams by any stretch. I just like St. Brown's game. Whatever you need him to do, he can just go do it. You can go get this ball, I got you. You need me to blow past somebody, I got you. I mean, just you need me to block downfield. He does that very well. He's just one of those guys, like, whatever you want from that position, he'll give to you. And I just like those kind of guys. Not Jamison Wilson can't do some of those things, but he's a little more of a specialized player, but they're going to use him for what they do. St. Brown is, like I tell people, like, if Noah Brown could actually, if he was better, look, no disrespect to Noah Brown, he's who he is in this league. He should be about your fourth or fifth wide receiver, great special teams guys. He's a great professional athlete. But boy, if you injected the DNA of St. Brown, that's what Noah Brown does well. St. Brown does all that and then some is what he does. And I definitely like that out of him.
Art Monk, if you're old enough, he just reminds me of friggin' Art Monk.
Yeah. Whatever you need from Art Monk, same thing. Whatever you needed. You need me to crack back? Cool. Oh, you need me to run this drag? Got you. Oh, you need me to beat somebody deep? Not a problem. Whatever you want. Yeah, Art Monk, man, phenomenal player.
Yeah, and he was never like fast. He was never. Nope. You would be like, how'd I get beat by a 50-yard pass by that guy? I thought he was just the underneath threat. No, whatever you need.
Whatever you need, I got you. Got a little wiggle. For sure.
So, Nix, I think you already answered this question, but just for clarification here, are the Lions the best team in the NFC North?
If they're not 1A, they're 1B. Chicago did a lot. Chicago got better last year, and they did a lot this offseason. But I got to see it come together. I know the Lions is already coming together. I got to see how the Bears put it together. But they're right now in June 20th. Yes, they're the best team in the NFC North right now, in my opinion. Yes.
Let's go Bears, my dad's favorite team.
Yeah. By preseason, I might be like, no, I think it's the Bears. But for now, yes, on June 20th, I'm going to put the Lions in there. But Bears soon.
Fair.
Do you think this game's the most important game of the season?
It could be. How the season falls, wins, losses, stuff like that. The Lions game definitely, it could be playing for a lot of different things. It could be playing for their playoff life, our playoff life. Is it, do you need to get another conference win for a tiebreaker, if you will, to maybe win the division? So that time of year, a lot of the games are big if you're in the mix. So it could definitely come down to be the biggest. Absolutely. The ingredients for it to be the most meaningful game are there. Now, whether the chef gets them right or not, we don't know. But yes, definitely opportunity for it to be the biggest game of the year for him.
All right, Nix, here we are, Week 17 versus the Lions. Will this be a win or a loss?
Man, we can't lose to the Lions. Hopefully our kneecaps are good and strong. They're covered the whole nine, so they get chewed off. I don't think the defense still got a ways to go. The offense is really good. We didn't talk about their defense yet. Hey, I got to see some more other defense. I know they had some pieces and things are going on. The Cowboys offense is going to be humming, though. So I'm going to go no. I think the Cowboys are going to win against the Lions.
Mike, how about you?
Yeah, I'm right there. Especially defensively. I don't know if they're ready. I'm going to be honest with you guys. They might be the best team in the NFC North. They might be, but I do believe they're a little overrated. I think teams are making Detroit has a great offensive line. Maybe, possibly this year could be the best in football, depending on how healthy the Eagles are and how much their new guard, mixes things up. So that always helps. When you have a great offensive line, it's going to make you look better than even you are. But when you match up against us and we have a great front, we're going to cause problems. Their receivers aren't, St. Brown, great player. Art Monk, Hall of Fame, great player. he's still got to get open on Diggs and Gilmore and Bland regularly. Like they don't have those guys. I don't know if they're going to be able to push us around, and their defense should not be able to stop us if we're healthy. So I think we handled Detroit a little bit better than people would assume looking at it right now. I think they bounced back off their 2 straight losses in my eyes, and they beat Detroit.
Boom.
Yeah, I don't see Dallas losing back-to-back games. They have a nice bounce back here against a tough Lions team that I don't think it'll come down to the fourth quarter, similar to what we saw, when the Lions shocked us last season, and we had to have that big fourth quarter, some turnovers to make turn that close game into a lopsided win for the Cowboys.
Tenfold.
All right, here we are, Week 18 at the Commanders. Nix, you look at this game, Week 18. Sometimes you're playing for something, most of the time you're not. But if Dallas can improve their playoff seeding, should they rest their starters?
Yeah, I mean, if they can, if the number 1 seed's on the line, you got to play. You have to play, definitely. If the number 1 seed's on the line, outside of that, I don't know. If you're going to get the buy-in, get the buy-in. Is it really? Look, if you're a 4 seed, okay. I mean, I don't know. Like playing for first and foremost, and again, this is all very specific at the time frame of what's going on, what the injuries kind of look like as well for the team. And that's one thing I don't like about the schedule is the Cowboys. Their bye week is very early, which sucks. They needed to, and I've been on this since they went to 17 games. They need 2 bye weeks. They need one in the first half. They need one in the second half. Let's, the NFL has talked about player safety. Well, let's start showing it a little bit more, if you will, and get 2 bye weeks in here. One in the first half, one in the second half. But if you can play for the number 1 seed, yes. And then it's case by case after that, depending on what's on the line exactly, wherever the case may be. There's some instances where I'm like, we need to play for this. There's other instances I'm like, no, let's rest them. I think number 1 seed is the only advocate where I'm like, no, we got to play for the 1 seed. Outside of that, it's a case-by-case scenario for me. Some will be yes, some will be no.
What if Dak has a chance to break the Cowboys regular season throwing record, or Parsons has a chance to break the sack record? Do you play your guys even if nothing's on the line if you're going for a record?
Very limited. You got a quarter. You better get it done. We're trying to play for something bigger, obviously, than those personal records. Funny enough, I think Dak probably wouldn't play. I definitely think Micah would be out there ready to play, though. I know he is or but so. Yeah, I think if you want someone to have an opportunity like that, you just have to be smart and say, hey, look, do whatever you got to do to make sure you get there as quickly as you can so you get him out of the game and then move forward. If you got nothing to play for, Micah needs a second half. All right, sir, you got a quarter. Get out there and get it. And then if not, hey, get back over here. Let's wrap you in bubble wrap and get ready for these playoffs. But there's a lane that you can let them do some things.
Yeah, let's just say Dallas can improve their seeding, but they need more than just a win to do it. Should they play their starters?
Nah, you should have took care of business already in that form. If it's I got to win and then some things got to happen just for a different seed. Yeah, if it ain't the number 1 seed in that scenario, no. If it's not the number 1 seed's a chance, yes, you play. If it's just different seeding, nah. You've had 16 games to get there. Let's get everybody healthy. Let's get ready for this playoff run. I would say that if it was us to win and need more, if it's not the number 1 seed, I'm out. We're going to sit these guys and get ready for next week in the playoffs.
I know this game was.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say they had that scenario last year where they technically still could have got the 1 seed with some things happening, and they basically didn't play. They played half-hearted.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I know this game probably won't mean much, Nix, but I'm curious. Looking at this game, will this be a win or a loss, even without our starters?
This will be a loss because the Cowboys have the number 1 seed locked up. They're not playing nobody.
Oh, I like that, my friend.
I love it.
Mike, how about you?
I put in a win if they play. I'm the same. I'm the same way. I think at this point they have 12 wins. They could win or lose it. 13-4, 12-5, depending on if they want to even try or if this is just a rest week. So I'll put it in a win if they feel like playing. If they're resting everybody, obviously they won't.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be playing for much of anything. I don't think we'll be playing our starters, so I'm going to have this as a loss. But it's not going to matter.
But there we
Okay,
go.
so you look at this stretch, Nix. If you could pick one game that Dallas will definitely win, which one would you pick?
Come on, man, Philly. Beat Philly, dilly. That's what it is. Get them up out of here. Pack them up.
Do you think that game is too early to be for the division? And if so, which game do you think they'll be playing to clinch the division in this stretch?
Well, I think things had to went wildly left for one of these teams for that to be clinching the division right then, right?
Yeah.
So it will go a long ways, though, I believe, obviously, to getting the division. It kind of goes back to the Lions we talked about. Could it be the most important game? Could be the Lions game that ends up the one that they play that clinches the division. So I'll say the Lions game.
All right, Nick. Is there a game you have circled on your calendar that you're excited to watch this season?
I mean, they're like all of my babies. I'm excited to see them all. I want to see all of them. They're all right here. All of you guys, you're just so great. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of highlights though, right? I mean, we get a crack at Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. That's going to be just so weird. It's going to be so weird seeing him in that.
Hearing you say it is weird.
Because I was at the game where in old Texas Stadium, whenever Favre got hurt and he came in. I was actually at that game. So it's interesting seeing that and what's going on. But, I mean, come on. I think if you're a Cowboys fan and taking the divisional rivals out of it, it's got to be the Chargers, man. It's going to be the Kellen Moore Bowl. It's going to be nuts. It's going to look, because until that game gets played, you already know they're going to be running, talking about what their offense is doing, what the Cowboys offense is doing, and building that thing all the way up to we play the Chargers and then who got it right. So, it's got to be the Kellen Moore. It's probably the one that's going to have all the hype around it here early in the season for sure.
I like that pick. That's a good pick, man.
Yeah, agreed. What's your record prediction for Dallas this season?
Well, you went 12-5 2 years in a row. Got there two different ways, but you went 12-5 though. You go out here, you plug your two biggest holes in just your playoff game, right? Wide receiver 2 or 3, however you want to look at him. Cornerback 2. You plugged them. You've actively, since the trade deadline last year, tried to fix your run defense by getting Hankins, re-signing him even. You drafted Mozzie Smith. The offenses are new. Things have changed there too. The things that constantly got us in trouble shouldn't be here anymore. Okay? And just hearing, McCarthy talking about the changes in the outside zone and things that they're doing, just ready to see the new run scheme in general get after it. And as you were talking about a little bit earlier, Mike, throwing the ball with purpose to the running backs, not just, oh my God, I'm in trouble and getting it out of there. Just another way for them to go attack, these defenses. So, man, I kind of take all those things into consideration, man. I don't think they're going to be 12-5 this year. I think the Cowboys are going to be 13-4. If they so want to play that last game of the year, then they'll be 14-3. Is kind of where I land. I think the momentum's been building. I've talked about a lot throughout the McCarthy time here, how he's changed the culture within the building and seeing how things have transpired from last offseason through all the way through this offseason thus far. You can just tell there's a different temperament. There's just a different vibe coming from them. And again, it's on the wall, right? You won 24 games the last 2 years, multiple ways, with your starting quarterback, without your starting quarterback, right? Defense getting a bunch of sacks to, okay, wait, no, now they're getting a bunch of turnovers. You found multiple ways to win. The running game. Now the passing game, they addressed that, we hope. But, I just think the team is moving in the right direction. You're not playing a first-place schedule. There's a tough stretch of games that we talked about. But, I mean, you look at it line for line, we're talking about just 100% no injuries. Boy, the Cowboys going to be really tough this year. And I said, if I tweeted out, I don't really do a whole lot of what they're going to do. Like, I'm completely sold on the fact they're going to be in the NFC Championship game. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I'm not saying they'll go to the Super Bowl. But I just look what they've done the past 2 seasons, how they have addressed things this offseason, and what they've, acquired via trades and, of course, the draft. Man, I think the sky's the limit for this team. I really do. So
keeping Dan Quinn.
Yeah, man.
Dan,
13-4 get to the championship game. At least let's get that noise out of here, and then roll the dice where we go from there.
Well, it sounds like you think that the Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders this year, Nix. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, the NFC. Look. Here's the thing: the NFC is down as well. On top of the Cowboys were this close to being in the final. The final four of the NFL last year. Yeah. And I think they've plugged and played a lot of things that they needed to take care of. So, I think right now you talk about the NFC. Sure, Philly. Sure, Niners. They got to figure out the quarterback situation still. And then you got the Cowboys. Who else are we talking about? Sure, Seattle was good last year. Do you think they're going to take another jump? So on and so forth. Tampa's not going to be the same. Saints are trying to do some things with Derek Carr, but do you believe in Derek Carr, what they got going down there? So, yeah, could the Rams have a resurgence? They've lost a lot of people, but they still got Aaron Donald. You got could they? But yeah, just right now on here in June, it's San Francisco, Dallas, and Philly. I think those are the three teams in the leaders in the clubhouse for NFC Championship aspirations.
All right, make your Super Bowl prediction.
Oh man, Super Bowl prediction time. The only way to do it is to go. The Cowboys are going to be there. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Let's go beat Kansas City. Yeah. Look, it'd be cool to play Cowboys, Bills, or whatever the case may be. Man, go. Look, if you're going to go do it, and you want to leave no doubt. Shout out to Remember the Titans. Leave no doubt. Run it up. Go beat Kansas City. Because if not, you'll hear, well, Dak won, but if Kansas City would have made it to the Super Bowl, they wouldn't. No. Just go ahead and bring the bully on down. We know the two champs over there. Bring them on in here, and let's square it up on the field and go from there. So, yeah, if I had my way, Super Bowl, Cowboys, Chiefs, let's go have some fun.
What's sad, though, is if Dak were to beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl, so many excuses would be made for Kansas City, like why Dak won, why Dallas won. He would never get his respect.
Oh, dude, Dak could win 3 straight Super Bowls, and it'd still be something. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's all Mike. It's all Mike McCarthy. It's all Dan Quinn.
It was fixed.
The script. The script writers. They wrote the script in for the Cowboys and win. That's it. I forgot about the old script writers.
Jerry paid the script writers.
There it is. Yes. I like it.
All right. Nix, man, thank you again so much for coming on. Before we get you out of here, let the people know where they can find your content and what they can expect from you this offseason.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, man. Guys, appreciate it, man. Had a fun time coming in here talking about these Cowboys. Got my juices flowing. I'm ready for preseason right now. Let's go. But yeah, Pick Six Sports on YouTube. The channel's over there. Go over there, hit the sub, follow us over that way. And then anything else Cowboys or video game related. I do love video game stuff too as well. Your guy Nix on Twitter, man. Catch me over there. And if you can't remember the Pick Six Sports, if you follow me on Twitter, you click my profile. YouTube's right there. Easy click, easy sub, easy peasy. And we'll be ramping up here going into training camp. We'll be running a series. We did it last year. Had a lot of fun. We'll do it again this year. The 53-man series, and we'll just go through every single position. Talk about the guys that are there, on this 90-man roster. And we lead all the way up to the very end and give our final thoughts on who we think the final 53 will be. So we'll be cracking that up along with news and notes from training camp as well too.
Love it.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
Mike, before we get you out of here, remind the people they can find you on Twitter, sir.
At CD Piglet, guys. Letter C, letter D, Piglet. Nice and easy. Nix, I'll see you on the chat room, my friend. Thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely, brother. Anytime. If y'all need me, holler. I'll be in the corner.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Jordan, everybody else who joined us tonight, thank you so much, and we will see you guys next week.